Has it happened? Will Hollywood finally kneel before Zod and stop making woke TEIESG entertainment? Well, let's find out from the Nerdrotic. Get over there and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. Yeah.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. After a really tough few years, it's all quiet on the...
No, that's funny. He mentions that in the beginning of every video. Let me see what he says again. What percentage is that?
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed.
Okay, so he's doing good. Okay, I remember years ago getting talking to somebody at YouTube, and they were helping me understand my numbers. And most YouTubers, period, out of everybody, most people that watch their stuff are not subscribed. Okay, I was at half and half. So half of my views were subscribers and half were not subscribers. He was like, that's actually pretty good. What you want to get to is the majority of your views being your subscribers. You know, it shows that loyalty and yada, yada. But that's really good. He said, you're doing really good. And I was like, okay. I did notice recently that the majority of my views come from my subscribers. So I appreciate that. But I don't think the majority of my comments are subscribers. I know whether you're a subscriber or not. I mean, a subscriber or not. There's a lot of you that comment every single day, and you're not even subscribed. Why do you watch me that much, but you're not subscribed? That boggles my mind. Maybe YouTube, you know, there's that glitch going on. People keep telling me it's still happening where they get unsubscribed. So make sure you check to see if you're subscribed and subscribe. Thank you.
Yet, after a really tough few years, it's all quiet on the Hollywood front. And that's not surprising considering the multiple interruptions and disruptions Tinseltown has gone through just in the last half-decade, including but not limited to the government response to COVID, ill-advised strikes, the inevitable cultural shift this past November that they have been fighting off for years, and then followed up with the tragic fires in Pacific Palisades and other places that did not threaten the infrastructure of Hollywood, but it did destroy the lives of a lot of people who work there. And no, I'm not happy about any of this. People lost their lives. I'm not going to dance on the ashes of anyone's home or memories. That being said, Hollywood has taken it in the shorts. So after multiple self-inflicted wounds, a giant ass-kicking in the culture war, and an act of God, it's forced Hollywood to be humbled. Don't believe me?
Apparently there was another fire like yesterday or the day before they got started. Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. What? You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us. Wow.
From Variety, Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us. And believe me, we'll get back to that. But as a grateful recovering addict, and some of you might be out there, my brothers and sisters in sobriety, you know...
I'm a recovering junk food addict. I know that. And that's real deal. Like, for real, when you seriously look up what junk food can do to you, some of the stuff that junk food can do to you is worse or as bad as what certain drugs, hard drugs, narcotics can do to you. And I was reading about a particular company out there that sells fast food. If you go to their restaurant and eat more than twice a week, you're considered a heavy user. Like you're a heavy drug user. Very interesting. And they're also known to put certain addictive substances in food to keep you coming back and make you feel hungry again and again and again and keep eating more and more and more. But I digress.
Life doesn't change until you hit bottom. And maybe this is Hollywood's wake-up call, because now they're forced to look inward. And I love these introspective articles, particularly when they come from sites like Vulture. And I have to admit, for Vulture anyway, they did try. They mostly didn't succeed, but they did bring up the one thing that every single Access Media article has missed over all the years I've done this channel. And this may be a first, because, spoilers, they actually mentioned the demonizing of you.
Wow.
Hollywood braces for a masks-off Trump era. There's more fear in the executive suites now than there ever has been. Quick reminder, this is Vulture, owned by Vox Media, and while...
So how about you start telling all of your minions that you tried to sick on us by calling us all type of istophobes. Tell them to stop it, and what they're doing is wrong and evil, and they should never do it again. How about you do that? Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, it's an attempt at balance.
Tell them you lied and you were wrong, and that you lied because your numbers were bad and you wanted somebody to blame. So anybody on social media that said that they didn't like your product was an istophobe. Tell them how you lied, and maybe we'll accept your apology.
For them, it wouldn't even be close for normal people. Most movie business insiders are hunched in a crash position alongside Disney executives for good reason. After facing a pandemic and twin Hollywood strikes, the inhabitants of the 30-mile zone, that's where TMZ comes from, know sweeping change is coming, even if the precise shape and scope is uncertain. Sources Vulture consulted with, ranging from studio executives to hit-making producers and high-level talent managers, as well as on-set crew members, most of whom spoke on a condition of anonymity. I want you to remember that. Predict Hollywood will generally become more self-censoring and less capable of critiquing the current political moment, if not less influential overall.
Hold up.
Wait a minute.
Something ain't right.
So all the people Vulture talked to on the
Big
condition
Eric
of
July
anonymity are worried about self-censoring, or be it for me to point out that that's exactly what you've been doing due to your mandated DEI restrictions, and that's what they are, your social engineering and your overall adherence to the message. And as far as being less influential is concerned, well, you're right there, but I thought the whole point of your industry was to entertain. I digress. Hollywood doesn't matter as much as it thinks it matters, says a talent manager with A-list clients. You had the biggest stars in the world support Kamala. She couldn't have drawn more powerful advocates, and it didn't move the needle. What does that tell you? It's unsettling, because the people and things you hold in high esteem don't drive the culture. As much as I love movies, they aren't the drivers anymore. It's not like we haven't been trying to warn you for years. Vulture asks, will any culture of resistance...
I say it all the time. We have been warning you for years to stop. And what would you do? You labeled us everything in the book, and you continued on. Now that you've lost billions, some of your companies are being sold off, you're firing employees, you're laying people off. Now you finally want to listen. Yeah.
Persist. You never know, there might be some people out there who still don't believe that every facet of every corporation that provides information and entertainment was trying to push the message, while Vulture just admits that the United Talent Agency was one of the entities behind it. One corporate strategist with interests across film and television described the feeling around town as preemptive exhaustion. Well, we've been exhausted with Urac, so the feeling is mutual. This next bit is interesting. Hollywood is plagued by a sense of doom precipitated not just by financial anxieties, but a feeling that a persuasive woke as broke mindset will affect what we see on our screens in the coming years. It already has affected it. In this sense, they see film as more of a bellwether than a trailblazer, reflective of the culture at large more than predictive and dictative. There might have been a time where Hollywood was a trendsetter, but that was a long time ago. Now it's where trends go to die. And thankfully, one of those trends that died a long overdue death was woke. And it's because Hollywood wasn't trying to be reflective of the culture, as they just said in this article. They were trying to dictate it.
Exactly.
The movement away from woke was already in motion, even before Trump got reelected, says a blockbuster producer who points to 2 of the 3 movies in the last Disney Star Wars trilogy, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Palpatine, and several recent Marvel movies, Eternals and The Marvels, all of which underperformed at the box office. backdrop by a din of fanboy complaints about forced diversity. So apparently it was just fanboy complaints that helped perpetuate this massive cultural shift.
Yeah.
Good on you.
The majority. Power! The majority of the world didn't want it. You reaped your rewards worldwide at the box office with these movies, okay? People don't want it. And the way the Americans voted in a landslide victory, and I won all 7 swing states against Kamala, all right? We spoke, and we let you know we're done with woke. That rhymed late to play the game. Bars! Americans have spoke, and we are done with woke. Quote that, Tyrone Magnus, January 2025.
The anonymous blockbuster producer continues. We've been seeing the departure of executives at the studio that had been hired to promote DEI in film and TV. Hollywood has swung too far to the left over the past few years, you don't say. And there was bound to be a reckoning. No fucking way. And if you're not tired of winning, Vulture does point out that the diversity, equity, and inclusion bashing Am I Racist prevailed as 2024's highest grossing documentary in the same year that the production company that made Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth shut down permanently.
I'll have to check out Matt's movie. I haven't had a chance to see it. I really liked What Is a Woman. I really like that. So I'll check this one out.
Isn't a strong desire for rhetorical storytelling in Hollywood, says one production exec. In certain corners of the entertainment world, there's suddenly this opportunity for conservative-minded viewers to see a bit of their world represented. Holy they just realized that maybe conservatives have been marginalized and underrepresented.
Newsflash, you stupid
Yes, newsflash, Hollywood, and quite frankly,
Is there going to be
a lot
forced conservatism now?
of conservatives do like entertainment and pop culture. So do libertarians and independent a-holes like me. But I don't think it's necessarily going to flip to the other side of the equation. And no one, not even conservatives, have asked that. And guess what? Conservative movers and shakers and pundits have a huge part to play in this because they abandon things like pop culture. They shamed nerds. They shamed gamers. And they ignored the warnings of Andrew Breitbart. Love him or hate him, the man wrote a book on this in 2003 and said this:
pop culture matters.
Something the left, quite frankly, has always understood. Unfortunately for them, just like every industry and institution in the West, they got arrogant and overplayed their hand. The mantra in Hollywood was survive until 25. But if you take a look at the major film...
You know, Brie Larson can be a good-looking chick. You know, I've seen her dressed in certain things. And after I saw that picture of her toes, I was like, there is no way in hell. Ladies, just want you to understand something, that men look at certain things on your body, and if they're not taken care of, we think you take care of something else the same way. Okay? We do look at your feet. We look at your hands. We look at your hair. We look at certain things, especially your teeth. You know, we look at these things because we're like, okay, if this ain't kept up, there's a high chance that she don't keep that up. And I know it could be false. Maybe you just don't take care of your feet. Okay? And you take care of everything else. But trust me, you will lose many a chance opportunity with a good man by not taking care of yourself.
Release schedule for this year, it doesn't look that different from last year. One filled with unnecessary prequels, sequels, midquels, and requels. In a more pressing example of what's to come in 2025, there is Marvel's Captain African American Brave New World, the Captain America sequel without Captain America, whose pre-sales are abysmal right now, which before June 2023 was titled Captain African American New World Order. The change was taken as an implicit response to the IRL, New World Order. Conspiracy theory gaining traction in right-wing extremist corners on the internet. It posits the existence of a secret global elite.
And I was hoping they were going to keep that title. I thought that title was risque. I thought it was risky. And I see they did change it.
Conspiring to implement a totalitarian one world government, because that's absolutely ridiculous. That's not happening. A Brave New World, which hits theaters Valentine's Day, February 14th. Hey, you can take your future ex-wife out to a date. We're reportedly...
Sure, I'll take Scarlo. She don't tell her about this part.
Disastrous, prompting expensive reshoots, with major sequences cut from the film. Yes, they reshot an entire new film and then cut about a half an hour out of it. According to a technical crew member on the film with knowledge of both the screenings and the reshoot process, the character portrayed by Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, a demagogic military leader who morphs into an irrational, orange-hued superhuman, the Red Hulk, created unforeseen political resonances for the studio in an inaugural year. Are you telling me that Marvel would use one of their characters as a stand-in for Trump? Nah.
You asked me a question about being the president.
I did, yeah.
I'll make no reference to current history. None.
The Disney Marvel crew member continues. He's this very powerful general who becomes a kind of a fascist and turns into a raging Red Hulk. That was seen as an allusion to Trump, the source explains. Disney was realizing, hey, we've been bleeding for a while. Let's try not to piss off our core base any more than we've been over the past couple of years. Try 5. Again, that is from a Disney Marvel employee, and I have heard from Disney Marvel employees the exact same thing. And considering Disney made...
People starting to write him, too. People have written me. Also, gotten a few emails. Boy, things are not good there.
Made changes to Inside Out 2 and took out an automatic or manual transmission storyline from its Pixar animated series Win or Lose,
You say manual
which admittedly
transmission?
is a surprise. I do know Hollywood will indeed self-censor. An awards campaign publicist with experience campaigning for left-leaning Oscar movies told me via email, less critical stuff, lots more of that. Again, Hollywood, you have been self-censoring, particularly for the last 4 years, and it's not because you thought it would be mean to make fun of a senile old man. On a personal level, Hollywood stars seem to have learned a lesson around the airing of Trump grievances. From Rachel Zegler, the star of Disney's upcoming live-action remake.
I'll do it. Weird.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, who has become the face of insufferable Hollywood
Her.
through her actions.
There's
Yes.
a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated. It's no longer 1937. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and a very epidemic.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in press with an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid them.
For every hour.
And if you disagree with the sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
A few days after the election, a 23-year-old singer-actress loudly broadcast her anguish on Instagram, made Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. I think it would be prudent to point out that
How evil is that?
Gina Carano was fired for far less. Hope you win that lawsuit, by the way, Gina. Now, the backlash
Hope you
was
do.
swift, brutal, and decisive because this adult pretender couldn't keep her pie hole shut, and then she was forced to apologize. Kind of. The upshot, Ziegler issued an apology. I let my emotions get the best of me, she wrote on Instagram. The takeaway, it creates a reticence
Or was it her people that wrote this? Guess we'll never know.
among famous people to take a stand unless they want to deal with the repercussions, an indie production company executive says. Now, here's the big one. There's a big difference between explaining what side of the aisle you sit on and speaking negatively about a large swath of people you might be depending on to see your movie. I heard that right. Vulture just acknowledged that pissing off and demonizing half the country, half of your potential audience, is probably not a very good idea. And it wasn't even followed up with a pithy comment like, but they're all bigots anyway, so f*** 'em. And to state the obvious, isn't it interesting that the access media is now agreeing with all of us bigots and using our talking points from 4 years ago? With
Yeah. Does that now make them bigots and istophobes?
film production and post-strike, post-pandemic Hollywood estimated to be down by as much as 40%, and widespread anxiety over dwindling revenues and audience interest, many industry mockers remain more concerned with surviving another financial quarter than thriving under Trump 2. We're just doing triage on the patients that are...
And I see this. Do you know, and you guys that have been following me forever, you know, I've done a few independent movies, but the goal was always to break into something, into Hollywood and do something big, do all the big, cool movies. Do you know how happy I am that big Hollywood never came a calling for me? Okay. I've had certain opportunities. I am so happy. I thank the Creator above that I did not get swooped up into making big budget movies and become some mega star that is now has to be tight-lipped and can't say certain things and has to say certain things, has to push a narrative, sign contracts, and has to appear in this many movies and has to do this and has to do that, or they'll be sued and lose everything that they ever worked for and just be a slave to the machine. Like, do you know how miserable I would be? So many of you were pushing for me to make it big in Hollywood. You wanted me in those movies. Do you know how sad and depressed I would be having to make movies and TV shows or voice characters that are all destroying what we all loved all these years? Oh my God. They tell you in success, when you're becoming successful, and success is a journey. So I'm a successful man, but the journey is continuing. The road is still continuing, and you never know what's going to happen. But they tell you that, you're going to become successful and things are going to happen, but it's never going to happen the way you think it is. And it's true. It's true so much. My major goal was to be a mainstream entertainer. And now I am, because YouTube is mainstream and the number one mainstream platform that the entire world watches media on. And I am a successful creator on here. Ta-da-da! I've made it. My dream has come true. And I will tell you this, okay? Sometimes when you're staring for your dreams, sometimes you find out stuff that makes you not want to be in certain industries or whatever. So I've heard a lot of rumors about Hollywood, and a couple of them have come true. I would hope that certain ones aren't true, but I guess I'll find out the higher I go, if I decide to try to go for bigger things. But that's only once all the woke is out. If the woke is never out, then don't send me no offers. Don't send me no type of auditions. Don't send me anything, because I don't want to be part of something that people hate. Absolutely not. I will not be a part of a machine that is destroying what people have grown up to love. Nope. Don't want that. I want to be happy. I'm a fan, so I want to be happy about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Coming off the battlefield, says a marketing executive, not thinking about how we resupply the troops. Man, if this is what they're telling us, imagine how bad things really are. But calm down with the war references, sweetheart. You make pretend for a living, and maybe you need to remember that. Back in the day when Hollywood was influential, it was simply because they were making pretty good art and telling pretty good stories. But we're a long way from that, and now they're beaten and broken and forced to bend the knee at King's Landing. And this one's gotta hurt. Again, Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. Didn't hear Biden talking about helping us. I don't want to take credit away from the old man. How can we forget the Hollywood bailout, where they took our money to keep your theaters open that the government shut down? For some, a return to 2020 before COVID. 2020 before COVID was exactly 2 months. Strikes and devastating wildfires crippling Hollywood's limping economy would be welcome, even if it meant enduring Trump's drive-by attacks on the industry. Members of the industry most left-wing contingent, the unions, are privately expressing hope that the president's planned tariffs on imports may cover runaway production, thus creating a greater incentive to film in the hard-hit hubs like Los Angeles and Atlanta. And again, wouldn't that hurt? if Trump saved Hollywood. Man, he's bringing Sly, John Voight, and Mel Gibson to do it.
I'm coming to get you.
One prolific indie film producer says he doesn't care for Trump's politics, but admits it is refreshing to hear the Office of the President focus on how we can get the movie business back on track and back in Los Angeles. The numerous power players Variety spoke with just as staggering as the town's silence over the encroaching Trump effect. Okay, let's be real. Not everybody's silent. Is the procession of media moguls from Amazon executive chairman Jeff Bezos, dude, you want to convince me you've changed? Cancel Rings of Power. To Disney CEO Bob Iger making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to bend the knee. Or will they do what they've done in recent history, learn all the wrong lessons? But without a doubt, the biggest loser in Tinseltown, aside from Hollywood overall as an industry, was the Hollywood celebrity, the death of their relevance. They were soundly defeated politically.
I tell you, Mark Hamill is a wild boy. I will always love the character of Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Walker, and the Joker, but good Lord, that is a wild bull.
And morally. And as they lick their wounds, maybe they'll understand that they broke the first rule of business. Don't fuck with the money, which is us.
NerdErotic.com.
That's right. Give the people what they want. You don't do that, you are effing with your money, man. Post your comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. If you enjoyed my reaction, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo! Well. I guess in the next couple of years, things will fully be back on track. And we won't have to worry about woke no more.